Damn it, Belly. You ate so much you made me puke. How do I vomit when you eat too much? You know what? This is fine. Father will be pleased with the bile we spread.
Gross. Rodigus, please use these napkins.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Yum, 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 yum.
God damn it, Nub. Please, you know what? Let's talk about what might happen to you in your future.
You know we're almost 100,000 years old, yes?
Yeah, and Numenera takes place in the billionth year. Some of the creatures in this game are completely energy-based. Technology is so advanced as some people simply call it magic to make it easier to describe because it activates with a motion and a thought. This game takes your far future and turns it up to 11. Belly, play the clip.
Belly!
These go to 11.
I'll be honest, I didn't actually think you'd do that. Either way, we should start out with a bit of an admittance. This will be a one-part review with what should be split into at least two. This book is absolutely massive. 9 parts split between 26 chapters. 5 chapters in an index, and character sheets. Let's start with Part 1, Chapter 2, which is how to play the game. GMs do not need to roll unless a creature rolls. In all honesty, this seems a bit odd given it looks like a creature doesn't really have anything like an AC. I guess a weapon difficulty is equivalent to an AC, but it follows the same sort of categories, so defense seems to be the same as challenge dice rolls. This chapter also points out that there are 3 categories of weapons, which are as follows. Light weapons, which deal 2 damage, but are easier to hit with by 1 category. Medium weapons, which are 4 damage characteristic. They include swords, battle axes, maces, crossbows, spears, and such. Essentially, if it can be used in one hand, usually, it's a medium weapon. Then we've got heavy weapons, which deal 6 points of damage, but must use 2 hands to utilize. I'm noticing there's no guns in this list, which is odd given it's a future setting, but whatever. Then it goes on bonuses. Unlike D&D, bonuses actually stack. You can get 12 different bonuses, each of a +1. Well, that's a +2 there. But you can't have more than a +2 apparently, which makes me ask why it brings up that you could have +3 bonus, but still only be able to increase it by 2. And that makes me ask what the point of adding bonuses is, but it then goes into more. But we get the basic idea in order to go with this stuff. Of course, I need to talk about the experience system. The experience system is strange. It acts like a currency which can be traded among the GM and players. You can give experience to another, to GM, to NPCs, and vice versa. I don't really understand it, but whatever. There's a lot about this game I just don't really get. need to take up my friend's offer for him to run a game for me, really. So, now we talk about how to make a character. This will honestly be pretty loose because there's a lot of stuff to keep track of. This is a bit of a negative because a lot of kids nowadays think 5th edition has a lot of stuff to keep track of. And that's nothing to someone like me. Your stats or statistics are your basic abilities. Might is your physical strength and toughness. It is how much you can lift and how much you can take. Speed is your physical coordination and how fast you are. It describes how long it takes you to get from point A to point B and how easily you can slip in and out of areas or in grapples. And intellect is your mind, how smart, wise, persuasive you are, and such there is. How do you get these numbers? Your class roll sets this up, which I don't really like, to be honest, but whatever. Those numbers in your stat are your pool. Now that does a bit more than just rolling your dice. It's also a kind of HP, as taking certain types of damage will reduce a pool in certain stats. Each stat also has an edge. It's essentially your knowledge of yourself. You need to spend points from your pool in order to do certain things, and the better your edge in that stat, the lower the cost to use such abilities. You subtract the edge from the cost of said stat, and that's how much the cost of the ability is at final. Effort is the final thing of these stats. Effort is the attempt to give yourself a bit of a push. To use effort, you spend an extra 3 points to ease the DC of the task by 1 step. You can put effort into damage as well, increasing the damage by 3. And there's more ways to use effort as well. We can also go into character types, which are essentially your classes. Instead of levels, they have tiers, which cost experience to buy into higher tiers. When you create a character, you need to figure out descriptors and focus too. These are not simply adjective, noun, who verbs, like the book also says you should write, but there are also actual build blocks to the character. We need to go into these starting with type. There's the glaive, who's essentially your elite warrior. They start with 11 might, 10 speed, and 7 intellect and get 6 points to spend however they want. They focus on either melee or range, gaining bonuses with those weapons, and look, I'm gonna be honest, I could just read the book, but just tier 1 of 6 is a whole lot of information. I'm gonna have to simplify every single type. Glaives are your weapons masters. Nanos are the next type, and they start with a 7 might, 9 speed, and 12 intellect, with 6 points to spend. They're essentially your psychics or magicians. They seem to have the ability to use magic, but their power is understanding how the universe works on a level very few can understand. Jacks are up next. They have a 10 in everything with 6 more to spend. They're essentially your rogue or universalist. They're jacks of all trades, but masters of none. This is a good starting type to build a variety sort of character. So there's your 3 types. Your warrior, your mage, and your thief, crafter, universalist type. It's the essential 3 rules. Fair, simple, but you can make these unique with each ability having multiple options or choices. I kinda like this. I don't love it, though, honestly. Next, you get your descriptor, the noun before, where type is the adjective. Each descriptor gives you a bonus to something. Gives you skills, gives you contacts, which are people you can call on, bonus gear, and some inabilities. We've got charm, clever, graceful, intelligent, learned, mystical/mechanical, because those two are the same in this setting, rugged, stealthy, strong, strong-willed, swift, and tough. Then we got foci, which is the verb. Focus gives you a connection like the descriptor, extra gear, and some powers too. This list is absolutely insanely long, so I'm not going to go into it, because this video is honestly long enough. I should point out, this is a reboot of the current edition I'm looking at. It used to be a lot worse, like how 6th World Shadowrun is now. So, with my essentially just bare knowledge, I give this game about a 75%. The problems are fairly brutish, but the book is insanely large, and for such little bit we need, it's intimidating how much stuff there is. You've got an insane amount to keep track of, which even for experienced players. Look, I love sci-fi games. I love magic settings. I love games that combine the two. But this game is a whole lot, and most of its problems is the way that there's just too much to get into. Why is there so much to keep track of? Why are there 4 parts to figuring out your background? And you're expected to combine them all. But I'm gonna try and do some stuff with my knight model I've yet to finish. So, Rodigus, shove off.